Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our 2012 President of the Home Builders of Berks County Association, Mr. Kevin Kozo.
Thank you. This election may very well be the most important election in recent memory, and the HBA is pleased to have organized these debates on your behalf. Our goal is to help you make a fully informed decision on Election Day. So whichever candidate you may choose, please make sure to get out and vote. Thank you so much for coming this evening.
Our next debate of the evening is for candidates seeking the office of Pennsylvania House of Representatives. The Pennsylvania House of Representatives 129th District seat is currently held by the incumbent in tonight's debate, the Honorable Jim Cox. The 129th District covers Adamstown, Bernville, Robesonia, Sinking Spring, and the following townships: Bethel, Heidelberg, Jefferson, Lower Heidelberg, Marion, North Heidelberg, and Penn. Before we meet the candidates, let's meet the panelists. If you can have the panelists come in, please. Ladies and gentlemen, our panelists for tonight's debate. I'll introduce to you first Mr. Jeffrey Sicher. Jeff has been a realtor and active in the real estate industry since 1981. He was chairperson of the Association of Realtors Legislative Committee in 2011, served as a Realtors PAC trustee, and is currently serving as the president of the association. Additionally, Jeff is on the board of directors for the state association, the Pennsylvania Association of Realtors. Representing tonight, the Reading-Berks Association of Realtors, again, Mr. Jeffrey Sicher. John D. Forrester is the news editor of the Reading Eagle and writes a weekly column. A Berks County native, John has covered politics and government for the Reading Eagle and Reading Times for more than 43 years. He is married and the father of 2 grown sons. John lives in nearby Kenhorst. Representing the Reading Eagle newspaper, Mr. John Forrester. Deb Kearse is the Vice President of Marketing for Cole Building Products. She has 30 years in the building industry, working with builders and remodelers through Cole's 9 locations. Cole Building Products is a member of over 20 business-oriented associations across Pennsylvania. Deb is a member of the Penn State Advisory Board and, in her second term, on the board of directors of the Reading Chamber. Representing the Greater Reading Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mrs. Deb Kearse. David Myers is the founding director of the Opaque Institute for Ethics, Leadership, and Public Service at Alvernia University. The mission of the Opaque Institute is to foster and promote ethical leadership and public service, both at Alvernia University and in the broader community. Immediately prior to moving to Alvernia and Reading, he served as Chief of Staff and Executive Director for External Relations and Economic Development at Bucknell University. Dave spent most of his career in and around state government in a number of different positions. Representing Alvernia University, Mr. Dave Myers. And now we meet the candidates. Allow me to first introduce to you Erik Saar, the challenger in this debate. As an Army-trained Arabic linguist and intelligence analyst, Erik Saar supported the FBI in New York after 9/11. He holds a master's in public policy from George Mason University and is a doctoral student at Alvernia. Erik works for the Office of Joint Chief of Staff at the Pentagon and resides in Lower Heidelberg with his wife Darcy and their sons, Griffin, age 5, and Jasper, age 3. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Erik Saar. And now the incumbent, Representative Jim Cox. Jim Cox has represented the 129th District since 2007. Before being elected, he served as Chief of Staff for Representative Sam Rohr for 8 years. Jim graduated from Pensacola Christian College and Regent University School of Law. Jim has served on many committees in the legislature and is the prime sponsor of the Property Tax Independence Act. Jim and his wife Kelly live in Spring Township with their 5 children. Ladies and gentlemen, again, Representative Jim Cox. We did flip a coin backstage before we came out this evening, and the coin was won, I believe, by Representative Cox, and he chose to close first. So that means that tonight's opening statement will begin with Mr. Erik Saar. Mr. Saar, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Christian. And thank you all for being here tonight. Let me begin by first thanking the Home Builders Association. I know all the legwork that went into making this happen. I sincerely appreciate all your work. Alvernia University for hosting us tonight. And most importantly, let me thank all you in the community for being here, and Mr. Cox as well for agreeing to the debate. It's so great to see so many folks concerned about the issues that really impact our community. And community is really the primary reason that I'm here today. About 5 years ago, I got out of the United States Army. I served as an Arabic linguist and intelligence analyst. And my wife Darcy and I sat down at our kitchen table and we said, look, we're starting to think about having children, and we lived in Northern Virginia, and we said there's no better place to really raise a family than in Pennsylvania. So we decided to come back to Berks County to settle here to raise our kids. And we have never been disappointed in what a great place it is to do exactly that. The common sense values that are here really can't be matched anywhere else. One of my experiences in the Army was great in order to be able to travel, get to meet many different people, and see folks from all walks of life. But there's nothing like the roots of Pennsylvania to bring you home. But when I took a look to see what was happening in Harrisburg and how it impacted my community, I felt like I had to step up and do something that I had learned in the days that I was in the Army and then in the private sector as well, which is to commit to service and engage in a rigorous debate about the issues that impact our community. Because to me, when I looked around and saw what was going on in Harrisburg, I couldn't help but feel like there's one set of rules for the folks that work in Harrisburg and quite a different set of rules for those of us here who don't have political jobs. And as someone who's never run for office before, I said, the issues are far too important to have year after year go by where there's no challenger and no one else. I hope tonight we have a great discussion about the issues that are important to our community, and I look forward to our debate.
Thank you, Mr. Saar. Representative Cox, you will have 2 minutes for opening statement.
Thank you. I guess tonight's all about 2 different types of candidates. My background is somewhat different than Mr. Saar's. I came from a background where I had actually gone into the study of law and had aspirations of fighting those winning court cases and changing the laws kind of through the court system, fighting against judicial activism and things like that. Things fairly quickly changed when one of my employers said, hey, I'd like you to take a look at heading up a public affairs office in Washington, D.C. And it was then that I kind of stepped back and said, I can go into a courtroom and fight the way the laws are being interpreted, or I can be involved in the actual drafting and the formation of those laws and hopefully get it right so that it's not a go back and fix it through the court type of approach. Because of that, I started to get involved in local party activities and things like that, but I quickly saw some of the same things that Mr. Saar pointed out, and that is I didn't like the way things were being done by the party. And so what actually prompted me to run in 2006 when I first ran was the individual who was running at that point, was my primary opponent. He essentially said, I went down in one of his first interviews, he said, I went down to Harrisburg and I met with the party leaders and I got their approval to run. That right there was my call to service in the Pennsylvania legislature because I did not want the status quo to continue. In 2006, the campaign slogans were not the status quo is the way to go, but rather the status quo has got to go. And as I went in and began to serve, it became evident that it was going to be an uphill battle because those leaders who are currently in charge said, we're going to do things the same way, and you're going to be fighting against us. Things changed fairly quickly in my first term. I voted against the majority of my party in my very first vote. I'm an independent individual, I'm an independent candidate, and I will remain so as things go forward.
Thank you, gentlemen.